So, welcome to the realm of the blue. This is about what I've been trying to get out for ages regarding the blue and yellow magic that is going on, the manipulation of what is already present into creating a consent towards their magic rather than the magic of the many or the consent or real wanting of the many and real consent because they coerce, manipulate, and control with force, with niceys to try and get people to think they're consenting to one thing when they are very much giving away of all other or consenting to a whole other thing. So this is a bit of fun. I'm in the blue. I'm going to delve into a little bit, and I'm going to keep getting videos out about this as much and more as and when I can. But I want to take you first into, and I've got saved so many things regarding the interesting things about the blue. I might just search them up as and when, we'll see. But for the main part, this is a writing on the wall, which is where I share the psychic knowings I have, the intuitions that I have, the research that I've done, and the pulling of all that together sometimes, or just one or two of the aspects, or it's just a chat. So I'm going to take you into what I've been feeling for a long time, what I've been speaking about this being the next eruption point from the following of World War One, but most of all World War Two, regarding this plan, agenda, rollout of the wants and willings of the so-called powers that be, but more importantly, the infiltration that they have had also at the grassroots of the shadowy beings that I feel have hidden in the shadows here for a long time and are the greatest part of the hijack of this realm and the hijack of what humanity is and what it represents, its history, its timeline, everything. And so coming into this is where it all started off was I'm always watching. I'm always watching the energetic imprints of the so-called powers that be. Anything of that which would seek to oppress, control, infiltrate, manipulate my fellow brothers and sisters. So this is where I get the impressions that I can then build on for a psychic nature to go into vision quest, to go into remote viewing, to just get a heads up of where to look. And so picked up very quickly that they were doing this blue and yellow magic. And this is where they just like you would in witchcraft, you very much and very often harness your magic to different things that would represent the aspects of whatever magic you are wanting to put out there, whatever manifestation you're wanting to put out there. So you would choose a colored candle to add to your repertoire when you were putting together any spell work. You would then add other things that would represent certain crystals, in particular the crystals, the colored candles. They're representative of the color spectrum, but most of all the frequency that is held within that aspect of the color within the spectrum. And so this, and also with crystals having different frequencies being emitted from them, and also then you would maybe use sound. It's like cooking a good meal. You add different ingredients and bring them together. The cauldron, the stirring pot, where you put all of your ingredients to bring about an outcome at the end of a recipe that you would then indulge in or give to others for better or worse. and that's, you know, their ingredients, and they work. And the so-called powers that be, having stolen our knowledge and hidden it away, have had a great capacity and veracity to do this. And this is where people would scoff and say, oh, it's government. It's no, they're the puppets that represent the people who are in the shadows, the beings that are in the shadows, who know how to manipulate the magic, use magic, and create manifestations and intent. So, for instance, there's all sorts in this box. I've got some charcoal. There's my colored candles, you know. So you would say, so there's this I feel is the wrong color blue, but no, maybe not. So this, we've got the yellow. This is an orange, but picture, I've sort of gone out of my blue and yellow because I've been meeting force with force. And so this is, so say this is yellow, it's orange, but it's yellow for today's purposes. This is blue, it's a light blue, but I've been using the dark and yellow. I have to replace them, actually. I forgot I'd gone through them all. But we're pretending. So this is where they would, you know, use the frequencies within these colors. Remember, yellow, darker blue, to be able to put about. Now they have a lot of technologies that they can use to then harness frequency from the color spectrum to emit out via satellites and all sorts. So this is where we need to be very active in meeting force with force. I don't think they match our intent because of how many we are, hence them needing more equipment than we need and more advanced equipment than we need. But anyway, I went through this, so refer back to the first video I did on the writing on the wall, that they're using yellow and blue magic, blue and yellow magic, and you'll gain more ground in what I'm saying regarding how this is playing out. Now, I want to take you into a little bit of just a revision of what I see when I went into this, what I saw when I went into this initially, when I started to realize you're using yellow and blue. I know where to look. And, you know, so I'm going to take you into a little bit of what I saw. I want you to picture this all tying in with AI, but AI not just as we've been sold it or know it. The AI that we're being sold and know very much has a physical representation, even down to Elon's thing in the head. There's this physical representation, i.e. either attached to our bodies, the phones that we use, the physical things that we would be using in life, even down to the introduction of the police dogs in New York, the AI police dogs in New York. They did that for one reason. I'm just going to go off thing here, is that if they could do that, I'm presuming, and I think I'm right in presuming, that New York is still very, would it be left, like Democrat wing, left wing, I think it is. So the very Democrat wing, but you put in the right words as you know them. And within that, and this is not to offend, this is just me picking up on the energetics of the types of people who affiliate with sides, because there are a lot of people at different varying degrees, and there are a lot of people with very much more sensible ideas than the energies I'm talking about in the extremes of either side. But there is the right side of that, and the right side of that is very much can be given to climate and climate change and rights, and also to animal rights. So to introduce it there was very strategic and very clever. because of course the next thing, and this is just an add-on, this has got nothing to do with the video, and this is what I always do, going off on a tangent, but this is the next thing that they're going to tie that to, in that they've done that particularly to manipulate the argument that will come up later down the line, implanted into that side of things, where the people start to say, yes, they're right. This protects the dogs. This protects the police dogs. No longer will they be of servitude to the force. No longer will they be getting hurt in the line of fire. No longer will they have to be trained like dogs to serve the police force. We're going to get behind these robots. We're going to fight for these dog robots to be here, because it will, in order to do that, with us doing that, we can then have a knock-on effect of taking a whole load of misdeeds that are done towards the police dogs in our eyes. And because it'll be at the extreme point of view of animal rights, the extreme point of view of just the rights in general thing, which I'm all for rights, I'm not calling, you know what I'm saying, they attach it to the right group. And so that is why that location was chosen very specifically. So that actually, let's tie this in. That's the depth that they go into in the planning and structuring of gaining consent that isn't really truthful consent as we know it, because it's not spelled out what they're doing. Spelled out. Ha ha ha. It is it's manipulated consent. So that's one thing. So I've forgotten completely what I was saying. Vision quest, Jenny, concentrate. Okay. So AI as we know it, that was it. So this is where I go in and I see, I go to a place, I go to a space, let's say, around dimension, I go wandering. And damn it, I haven't turned that off. And what I see is crazy, in that I see and I'm cognizant of machinery. I see a lot of blue. It's very dark, but a very luminescent blue. Start to become aware of other colors, some of which I can't quite describe. And although I can't see with my physical eye, I can feel and see movement, flow, lots of busyness. When I look up to this, what can only be described as a circuit board, but much more advanced than any circuit board here, I see these different beings that are just of flow of spectrum of ether, moving to just attach themselves to a body of a circuit board to do their role. And the movement is fast. It is so fast. And it is everywhere. And then very suddenly become aware that I'm not in anything other than a circuit board. And this circuit board is there, yet it is not even physical. This is where I realize what I already know, that these different beings, these different, what for want of a better word, alien. And whether I was at the lower realm of a realm, whether I was at the lower aspect of a dimension, and this kept building up into beings that were instructing their colors, their components, to quickly make up whatever component as quick as a thought was needed to do a roll and bang into another thing. And it was so quick and organized, quicker than I could think, quicker than I could process. Another circuit, but boom, created. Everything doing a roll and boom, and not all leaving at the same time, you know, one's flying over here, another flying over here, and creating these conduits, these circuit boards, where you could see all of a sudden light up all of the colors at once, bang, that was done. But then another process on that same circuit board would work, but colors would move from that, and it was flow, fast, quick. And I came out of that in shock. I came out of that feeling zapped. And I realized this is a completely mobile add-on. It's a completely mobile parasitic add-on, where the beings that are part of these colors, that become part of any given circuit board at any given time, are literally remote telling, remote commanding aspects of them. Whether these beings themselves that made up the commands of all of these colors, whether they are even physical, I'm still yet to determine. Whether they can even become physical, I'm still yet to determine. I'm still not squared off on yet. But the extension of them, the same way you would look at my torso and say my arm is an extension of me, my words, my voice is an extension of me, that this is what it was like. It was like their words, their air were their colors, but their colors knew, not their colors, they knew how to command their colors, their words, their breath. Just like I know how to not even have to think about it, clench my fists. I don't even have to hear myself say, like, clench your fists right now. It's like, I'm not saying anything. And that's what it was like. And I know it seems silly me doing that, but that's what it felt. That's what I did when I came out of that. I was like, do I need to say something? Do I need to give it a second? And plus I wanted the feeling to come back in my hands properly. It was like that. I realized then that whatever transition we are going through now, whatever extensions of that arm that these puppets represent, like Elon, like Gates, like Bezos, they are literally not even the fingernails of this extension of whatever it is that has been here for a long time, allowing the creativity of humans, allowing certain drip feed introductions into technologies to get to this point where we can actually even harness that type of capacity of AI. within this realm, whatever this realm is. Playing a long waiting game of you know, why not wait? They're totally remote from here. They are as our nervous system is, where I don't even need to give it the time to think, to command my fists to clench and unclench. This is serious, and this is why we can't have billionaires who can be harnessed to manipulate and coerce the whole science community, to hide knowledge from the collective, to betray the collective by giving out, you know, wrong knowledge. To buy off things that we thought we had instilled for and allowed for our safety, i.e. governments. And with this technology, which seems like a real low-grade, crass term for what I feel and what I saw, being in the hands of the so-called powers that be, that we are literally bowing down to today, we're ushering in kinds of beings that don't even need to ever be seen in their true form, that I don't feel that we have seen here. And it comes out of their own mouth. You hear Elon saying, you know, what was he on Joe Rogan when he said the famous line, you know, it's the most, AI is the most dangerous thing, you know. Well, I can't, it's not a quote, so, but words, for want of better words, is, you know, we don't know how it's going to turn out, but for sure we know we won't control it. So if we think these so-called beings, the powers that be, are bad, if we think this is bad, then even out of their own mouths, they won't control it. Now, is it that, you know, we have to go back to the, you know, what would seem like now the dark ages without the technology? I don't think we can go back from there. But I do think we have a small window of opportunity between now, 2026, 2030, of being able to have dominion over the technology we've got and real truthful voting in of, or at least a maintenance of, the power that we give to that technology. At least having a window of opportunity to fight for the rights to say no to certain progressions in technology, no matter what is promised behind them. Because as it is, one, these so-called powers that be are psychopaths. As it is, we can't trust them with the levels of technology they've got now. So if we are to be as complacent as a people still, and not make our voices heard, on things that we are going through right now, which is like a beta type testing, I feel, for many reasons. If we are to give over easily, if we don't make our voices heard and give over easily now, then, you know, I don't feel that the human collective represents uh, even a responsible enough aspect as to um, allowing ourselves to even be any more advanced technologically, because if we are too dim-witted to still not stand in solidarity to what's even going on now with lockdowns, with masks, with everything that represents psychopaths being in charge, then, you know, I'm not sure where this leads, but we do have a window to say we see what this also represents, this time of COVID, what this also represents. We see that it represents a beta test as to whether we're going to leave psychopaths in charge of us via, it's like we're giving the psychopaths the space to be the message that tells the fist to clench and unclench. We need to have the capacity to stand in our power collectively to say, okay, no, you're not actually doing what we put you in place to do. You are not doing the job that we put you in place to do, governments. You are selling us out to corporations, which are what? Fully progressive and active in introducing as much AI as possible. Why? Because they all want to maintain or get to billionaires, trillionaires. So it really is it really was a whack in in the groin for me, because it was a case of, damn, a lot hinges on now and the next under 10 years. The direction and world that my children will be growing up on really is hinged on between now and the next 10 years. So this is just an introduction into what initially got me started after I recognized the color that they were using. Now, when I am looking at this within this realm where we are, I feel like I am enveloped in this invisible blue, that I can see it everywhere. And not the blue. Blue isn't a bad color. I love the color blue. But it's the intent behind it. And for whatever reason, all of those colors that I saw fly into different aspects of the circuit board, actually making the circuit board in real time, you know, just movement and flow of almost invisible but color, only becoming really colorful in their own color rights once they sort of hit something and instantly formed a colorful circuit board. Worked, did its thing, bang, after. So, but it is very much based in, when I come back down to here, out of the vision, I very much realize it, and it's continued to grow, that it is represented here as blue. keep hearing blue chip, you know, I keep hearing Bluetooth. I keep seeing and hearing and correlating what I saw up there that was everything of the spectrums represented here in the blue. Now we can use blue. I've been using up my blue. I need to replace my yellow and blue with the intent behind it for good. Even the blue that I feel now represents the internet and the capacities of the weapons that they have. Ironically, a lot resulting in blue lightning drawn up from the ground. Blue. So that's again us. We could use it for positive. The internet has a lot of positives. It's fantastic in a lot of ways, and it can be used real negatively too, as we're seeing that we have this sleuth of information, of connectivity with one another, and we have enabled a quicker speech around the world, but then bang, their negative intent comes, and you start to see how quickly they can pull the plug on that. But worse still, not pull the plug on it, encourage it, but encourage it with negative intent by shadow banning people, by making it look like a lot more people are for something than against something, shaming people, promoting false light people, promoting false information people, promoting false narratives. So this is where the intent comes in. So this is no thing against blue. I love the color blue. I love my blue planet, realm, whatever it is. I love blue. It's nothing against, I'm not bluish or bluist. It's not a bluism. That's it. It's not a bluism. It's an intentism. And so the intent of these greedy puppets that have been infiltrated and manipulated, and it has got them ill, real ill, to the point where they cannot even see, or even they don't even want to look at the capacities and the whys and wherefores, because now it's become an us and them thing. This is what we need to go for, the heads of the snakes, and not stand for it. There's going to have to be some kind of stance around the world to say no, each to our own countries, no. Collectively standing together in solidarity to say, no, you are proving to not be able to do your job. You guys have been infiltrated, whether you know it or not, as individuals, as a collective, but they know it. But they don't care, because they think whatever it is that's coming, and once it gets through our veil, is very much represented in the blue. They think they're going to be all cushy. No, I don't think they would be either. So that's the vision that I had regarding the initiation of me getting a little bit obsessive about the blue and yellow magic that is being put out there. Yellow, I'll get into more videos about that. I'll find a yellow lipstick. It is more about harnessing the blue, carrying the blue, the yellow being very much about communication, technologies, speech, knowledge. And so they work well together, the yellow and the blue. So that is one of it's the second really video I've done on the blue and yellow, but mainly the blue. and leave a comment. Let me know what you make of this. I'd be really appreciative of any feedback or any insight as to how this hit you, what you saw as I was trying to convey and describe what I went and saw during this particular vision quest. You know, be aware of this with your kids. Be aware of um, the manipulations with yourself, but also your kids. This is really appealing to them. On the other hand, what we do have is children who are born, you know, Theo, he doesn't recognize a regular phone. He didn't recognize a regular lined in phone. He doesn't even recognize a flip mobile phone. He's seen pictures of them and said, "What's that?" You know, my mom keeps everything, wires, electrical things. And she does have clear outs and then everything goes, but then she builds up again, thinks that'll be useful. And it usually is. We go to her house when we're running out of a wire that we need or whatever. But there was an old flip phone in there, mobile phone. And he was like, "What's that?" And we said, "It's a phone." He said, "No, it's not." And he's looking at the screen and pressing the screen. You think, "No, it's not." It's, "Yes, it is, baby. Show me." And of course, it's not working, so couldn't. So he was convinced even more. So, "No, it's not. It's not a phone." And so these kids have been born into a much higher consciousness intuitively. You know, he's intuitive with a pad or anything, and he is limited. And so, but he's intuitive with a pad. You know, what do you call it, controller, very intuitive of how to play a game and whatnot, and even new games that, you know, he very quickly learns the controls. His thumbs move, his fingers move, and William's too, Abigail's too. But in particular, Abigail being 21, she's even seen, because she had the opportunity to see tech be, she was born into tech, obviously, but from then to 20 years on, tech has gone huge amounts. Some ash off this smudge. And so that's one good thing that I see, in that there are people, there are a lot of young minds, young people, that if we can get these so-called powers that be out of the way, there are a lot of good-hearted, well-minded young individuals that are very intuitive with this kind of thing, and given the freedom to be able to think outside the box and know the truth about how technology can be infiltrated via a species, a being, a realm that is so remote. You know, they've at least got the signature here somewhere, if they were allowed to dig around for it, of what this looks like. You know, we can build protection. So it's not to say I'm saying we've got to throw, oh, that's it. I'm talking on tech now. And I love the fact that I can do that. But we need these so-called powers that be out the freaking way for before anybody of good-minded, good-hearted nature with the capacity to do so can do anything to any great extent. And something needs to be done about this to a great extent. But this is just one of the long list of many reasons why these people need to be held to account, why these people need to be stopped, because they are the conduit for all sorts of hijacks and takeovers. Greedy, egotistical, narcissistic, euthanagistic, is that a word? Creatures, characters that I feel half of which are from a different species anyway, or of a line of at the very least, for them to be out of the way. For it's one in a long list of reasons. We cannot have people, beings like this representing, because this is where the hijacks and takeovers happen. And they are nothing more than greedy, narcissistic. I've gone through the list, so I'll not do it again. Beings that give the capacity to do so easily, because for whatever they are, they can look like us, they can talk like us, walk like us, eat like us. So we're more accepting of it because they seem more like us. They can even play around like us. There is not one billionaire that is like you and I. Not one. I don't believe it. I don't think they would allow somebody like you or I to be in the ranks of billionaires that we see today. Because then, just like them, we would have a lot of sway and power in this monetary world that we have found ourselves in, to say, no, I'm going to put a lot of money behind real science. I'm going to put a lot of money behind real spirituality. I'm going to put a lot of money behind real history. I'm actually going to release, by donation to the church, a lot of things that they're going to let me see, and I'm going to take photographs of it all, and I'm going to release it all to let you know that was all a bullshit scam. So no, I don't think that, there is one of us represented in that bracket. And this is where we need to seriously question why we allow them to maintain their power. Because the only reason this new blue corporate, i.e. other realm world is infiltrating right now is because these puppets are there representing us, looking like us, acting like us, pulling on our emotional cords and strings to coerce. That takes us right back. Great segue to the end, to the robotic dog in the New York area. So I appreciate you all listening. I hope this was somewhat enjoyable and somewhat informative, and ponder on it. Let me know how you feel. And I appreciate each and every one of you being here. Most of all, mwah, love you.